Charles Ng. Charles Ng, along with his accomplice Leonard Lake, perpetrated one of the most gruesome series of crimes in American history. The duo, responsible for the torture and murder of at least 11 people, turned a remote cabin in the Sierra Nevada foothills of California into a house of horrors where they enacted their sadistic fantasies. Early life and military background. Charles Ng was born on December 24, 1960, in Hong Kong. He came from a wealthy family but had a troubled childhood, marked by a strained relationship with his strict father. Ng was sent to various boarding schools, where he struggled with discipline and often found himself in trouble. In 1978, at the age of 18, Ng moved to the United States on a student visa. He briefly attended college in California but dropped out and joined the U.S. Marine Corps. His military career was short-lived. He was dishonorably discharged after being caught stealing weapons. It was during his time in the military that Ng met Leonard Lake, a survivalist with a twisted obsession for domination and control. The murders and torture. In the early 1980s, Ng and Lake began their killing spree. They constructed a bunker on Lake's property near Wilseyville, California, which they called their Miranda Project. The bunker was designed as a dungeon where they could imprison, torture, and eventually murder their victims, most of whom were young women. The pair lured their victims with promises of work or by targeting entire families, whom they would then abduct. Once captured, the victims were subjected to unspeakable horrors. Ng and Lake videotaped many of their crimes, documenting their sadistic acts as they tortured and sexually assaulted their victims. After they had satisfied their sick desires, they would murder their captives, often dismembering the bodies and disposing of the remains on the property. Capture and trial. Ng's downfall began in 1985 when he was caught shoplifting in a San Francisco hardware store. When police arrived, they discovered that Ng was wanted for a parole violation related to his earlier theft of weapons from the Marines. Meanwhile, Lake, fearing arrest, swallowed a cyanide pill and died shortly afterward. Ng fled to Canada but was captured and extradited back to the United States in 1991 after a lengthy legal battle. His trial did not begin until 1998, due to numerous delays, including Ng's attempts to represent himself in the complex nature of the case. The trial was one of the most expensive in California's history, and the evidence presented, including the horrific videotapes and testimony from surviving victims, left the jury with little doubt about Ng's guilt. In 1999, Charles Ng was convicted of 11 counts of murder and sentenced to death. He remains on death row at San Quentin State Prison, where he has continued to file appeals, prolonging his time in prison. Legacy. The crimes of Charles Ng and Leonard Lake remain some of the most horrifying in American history. Their acts of torture and murder, meticulously planned and cruelly executed, reveal a level of depravity that continues to shock and disturb those who study the case. The case highlighted significant issues in the legal and criminal justice systems, particularly concerning the lengthy and costly process of bringing Ng to trial. It also exposed the dangers posed by individuals who, despite showing clear signs of psychopathy and criminal intent, managed to evade detection and commit atrocities. Ng's story, like that of his partner Leonard Lake, serves as a grim reminder of the potential for evil that exists within some individuals and the catastrophic consequences when they act on their darkest impulses. The tapes, trials, and lingering memories of their victims ensure that the horrors they inflicted will not be forgotten.